All right, well, as a busy mom, I spend an awful lot of time in the kitchen preparing dishes for my family, and I also spend a lot of time shooing all the kids out of the kitchen. But our next guest says by involving children in cooking from a really early age, they'll actually take an interest in healthy eating that will set them up for life. Annabel Karmel is one of the world's leading experts and best-selling authors on baby and children's food and nutrition. She contributes to just countless newspapers and magazines and TV shows, and she's written, get this, 22 books. Her latest is called You Can Cook, a step-by-step cookbook for kids. She joins us now to talk about getting your kids cooking. Hey there, Annabel.
Hi.
You know what, I'm so glad you're with us this morning because, you know, children and cooking, I have to tell you, I let my kids help with things like baking cookies for the memories and those kinds of things, but not a whole lot else. Why is it important that I involve them in the process?
Well, first of all, you eat kind of different foods if you learn to cook. And it will encourage fussy eaters to try something new. You know, you get those dreaded words, that's yucky, I'm not eating it. But darling, you haven't had the first mouthful. Yes, but I know I don't like it. But if they actually have a hand in preparing it, they're much more likely to eat it. So that's one thing. Also, there's we're going to be making pesto, and that's something that maybe kids would never have tried if they hadn't tried to make it. And also, if you teach your kids how to cook, well, one day they're going to leave home.
Well, let's hope one day they will.
Cook, and they'll leave home, they won't be able to cook a thing.
Well, you know what, that's true. And you know what else? I think the truth of it is that not all kids like things like their fruits and their veggies, and a lot of kids are picky eaters. Mine are, and I know that you say yours are as well. But I guess by getting them to make some healthy choices and help prepare what they eat, they'll likely want to eat it, right?
Exactly. It gets them into cooking and gets them into eating. And they're learning so many skills about maths, understanding time when they're cooking as well. But we're going to make for you today we're going to show you how to make, this is fresh pesto. And it's so easy to make.
I wouldn't think that kids would eat pesto.
Well, kids love pesto, and it was a big surprise to me, honestly. It was a big surprise when I had my kids. My kids loved olives and pesto and hummus, and I never expected it. And I think parents think, oh, they only like burgers and pizzas and chicken nuggets. But they're actually a lot more sophisticated than we think, and a lot of ethnic foods are very popular, like, you know, satay chicken. And pesto is wonderful because it's so easy to make. You take toasted pine nuts, which you toast in a dry frying pan. You add some fresh basil, and then I add some parmesan, some garlic, and a little bit of sugar, and I whiz it up in a food processor, and the child can push the button, so any child can do that, even at the age of 2. And then you drizzle a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of water, and then you have your wonderful fresh pesto, which makes a fantastic sauce with pasta. So it's so easy. And what we've got over here, because Vivian's going to be making something using the fresh pesto, we've got here some mayonnaise mixed with fresh pesto, and she's going to be making some wraps. So you're going to be putting this all over the wraps, and then adding some mozzarella and tomato.
How old is the little girl you have there with you this morning helping you cook?
Well, you're 4 1/2, and a half is very important, of course.
Of course, because once you get to be our age, let me tell you, that half does not matter.
Yeah, when you get to be our age, you lie about everything, don't I'd say you don't count the half, that's for sure. She's 4 1/2, so I think you can start cooking when you're very young. You can do things like squeezing oranges, rolling out dough, cutting out shapes with cookie cutters when you're 2. You know, I mean, honestly, 2-year-olds operate these... They're doing these really complicated computer games that I wouldn't have a clue how to use. And they can do that too, so why shouldn't they be able to do cooking? But kids, you know, 17, 18 have never made a scrambled egg. It's quite worrying. So the book carries you through scrambled eggs, how to cut out a piece of heart shape in a piece of toast, crack the egg into it, and then you get a heart-shaped egg in the middle of your bread. It's really cute, but very simple. And all the simple things like making a white sauce, getting tomatoes, you know, how to chop onions, everything that kids need to know.
And, you know, Annabelle, one of the things that you said as you make your yummy little wrap there is that, you know, you have a lot of little recipes in the book.
Yes.
What is it, like 60 recipes that you have in the book there? Everything from pancakes to chicken pasta salad with roasted peppers to lamb. What is it? It's tangine?
Tagine, yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and then salmon and pastry, and of course some really decadent desserts. Some of this sounds, I have to tell you, complicated even for adults like me. But what you're saying is that kids can actually handle this?
Yeah, the idea is that with my kids, I made them cook the family supper on a Friday. I didn't make them, they actually wanted to do it. And so the first Friday was pretty much a disaster. But by the 4th Friday of the month, they were brilliant, and they made lamb tagine and chicken curries and things like that. And that gave them a love of cooking and the kind of the confidence that they could make anything. And that's a great idea, is to get kids making family supper from an early age, and on that day they can invite their friends over as well. So that's a good tip.
Well, you know what's funny is because as I watched you do all of this, it just struck me that it actually helps build a bond too with your child as well, doesn't it? Because while having them in the kitchen with you is also having them in the kitchen helping you and bonding with you.
It is a lovely thing. It's nice to do something with kids that they really enjoy doing. And it is, you're bonding with your child and your equals. I mean, the thing is to choose recipes that are simple so they can do all the steps. And also, they're not too long because children tend to have quite a short attention span.
So what age would you say about, like you said, at about age of 2, they can start like cutting out the shapes of the cookies and things like that?
Yeah, I write lots of books for very, very young children. This book is more sort of for 4 or 5 upwards, but I do toddler cookbooks as well, where it's like, you know, Rice Krispie squares and rolling out dough and very simple things for kids to get involved in, squeezing juices and melon balls and things like that. I mean, they get very involved from a young age and they absolutely love it. Just a little bit of encouragement, you'll get them in the kitchen.
Okay, so my littlest one has just a year to go before he can help Mommy. I absolutely love it, Annabel. And again, the book is called You Can Cook, a step-by-step cookbook for kids. Annabel Karmel, thanks so much for being here with us on The Balancing Act this morning.
Thank you. And I have a website with lots of recipes on it called AnnabelKarmel.com. And Vivian has done a wonderful job here with her 2 wonderful wraps. Thank you so much, Vivian.
Wonderful job on those wraps.